NBA YouTube, it's your man 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. Tonight, we need to get into these Philadelphia 76ers because there's something that I'm seeing about this team, and it's concerning. It's highly concerning. I think there might be a character flaw in the people that they're going to be depending upon the most to take them the furthest. If you like this video, smash that like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. And get at me on Twitter at Rock Never Stops 2, the number 2. Right now, what I'm seeing from the Philadelphia 76ers is concerning. Tonight, they almost lost to the Orlando Magic. Granted, they were playing in Orlando. It's the front end of a back-to-back where they have the Denver Nuggets tomorrow. Granted, it's at home. But it looked like they took this game for granted. They didn't really look at how the Orlando Magic had been playing as of late. The return of Markelle Fultz and how that's really amplified their offense and their bench production. They didn't even seem like they really went through their notes in terms of who they're guarding, the game plan for them. They kind of just went with a basic script. We're going to get to the free throw line. We're going to move the ball around. We're going to run our sets. And we're going to play hard defense, and we should be good to go. And Orlando jumped all over them. I think they got out to a 19-point lead at some point in the first half. And then the Orlando Magic had an opportunity to win the game down the stretch of the fourth, but didn't know how to close it. And then in overtime, they had an amazing opportunity to win this game, but just didn't know how to close. And Philadelphia squeaks out with a victory. A victory where if they had lost, they would have dropped down to the fourth seed and only been a game or 2 games out of the 6th seed, 3 games out of the 7th seed. And Brooklyn is coming. And I'm going to use that theme a lot. Brooklyn is coming. You see, this Eastern Conference is as deep as it's ever been. As it's ever been. This is the heavyweight conference. You cannot afford to slip at all. And when you think about this stretch that the Philadelphia 76ers are on right now, I want you guys to just see their next 10 games. They've got Denver, Cleveland, Dallas, Toronto, Miami, the Lakers, the Clippers, the Suns, the Bucks, the Pistons, and the Hornets. And then back to Cleveland again. That's 11 games. 8 of which are against playoff teams. I'm sorry, not just playoff teams. Teams that are competing for their positioning in the playoffs. Teams that have everything to gain by beating them. They have the bullseye on their back, and yet they almost lost the game to the Orlando Magic before going on this stretch. And the biggest thing that I really want to say is it's not even about that they almost lost to a team that's hungry, that's getting its premier players back in the lineups. It was how they almost lost this game. As if they didn't know what they needed to do. Or they didn't have necessarily the heart to really go after it. And that's essentially what everyone is expecting of this Philadelphia 76ers team. You wanted these guys. Joel Embiid, you wanted to get rid of Ben Simmons. You wanted a co-star in James Harden. James Harden, you wanted to be able to play in Philadelphia. You wanted to be able to play next to Joel Embiid. You wanted to be in this position. And you're already seeming to take it for granted. Already. You ain't proved nothing yet. You literally have everything to lose with a bad playoffs performance. Getting knocked out early. You have everything to gain if you can get to the finals, at least. And yet, you don't seem ready. And I trust Doc Rivers to the extent that he's going to prepare. Anytime he goes into Orlando where he used to coach, it's that old feeling like I always want to show the old girlfriend that I still look good and the girl that I'm with looks really good. So if I know that you're going to be there, I'm going to make sure I clean up a little bit more. Even if I'm super happy with the girl that I'm with. I still want to make sure you know that I know that you know that I'm that dude. So I know that they were prepared. And yet, this is the performance that they put up. I'm concerned. I'm highly concerned. I'm concerned that, once again, Joel Embiid and James Harden put up stinkers 2 games in a row, meaning that they're shooting way under their season averages. They are struggling to hit their go-to shots, and they don't seem ready for this stretch. Look, the Denver Nuggets are no joke. The Miami Heat, they can't wait to see the Philadelphia 76ers and dismantle them and expose them, just like Brooklyn was. And yet Embiid and Harden didn't seem ready to elevate themselves. This is after the All-Star break. Everybody knows this is the time you're supposed to turn it on. There's no excuses. There's no reason you should not be coming out 100%. Right now, Doc Rivers should be ripping them. He should be ripping them for not being ready to go. This is a horrible game. This was a horrible game by their standards, by a team that's supposed to be making a run for an NBA champion. They put up this type of a game when they could afford it the least. So right now, I'm actually curious what you all think about this team, because there's no doubt in my mind that they're talented. They've got depth. They've got experienced veterans, great defenders, right? Matisse Thybulle, first team all defense, right? Got one of the top 10 defenses in the NBA right now. They've got all the offense that they could want, bench scoring. Starters, Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey seem to have found their groove next to James Harden and Joel Embiid. They got a nice balance out there. Guys know their role. They're bought in. They have a good coach. Can't complain about Doc Rivers. He's a champion coach, and there's only a handful of them out there. And they've got one. You can't complain. There's no more excuses. How are you not showing up when it's mattering the most? And so when I'm thinking about these upcoming playoffs, look, they might have a matchup against a Toronto Raptors, a Brooklyn Nets, Cleveland Cavaliers, and you're not ready? You're not ready? Maybe that's the conclusion then, is that this team, their stars, are just still not ready for what it takes to be a champion. I want to know what y'all think. Holla at me at RockNeverStops2, the number 2 on Twitter. I want to hear your opinion. I'm going to holla at y'all later. Peace.